And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website. They will deliver right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or head down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of the Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. All right, Aaron, this might be the last Nightcap dedicated specifically to the 2023-24 Big 12 basketball season, because we might not have enough teams to talk about. We're not going to have enough teams to talk about to fill a whole show the rest of the way, because it has not been a great opening weekend for the Big 12. Let's just call a spade a spade.
It's fair. But at the same time, you could have two teams in the Elite Eight.
16. Well, Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming anything at this point in time.
It's fine. And you could have a team going to the Final Four of the NIT. So,
yeah, but when you put 8 teams in the tournament, and there's a somewhat we're to be open and honest, we are recording this before Houston plays, because I did something today that I never do, Aaron. Ever.
Oh no.
Ever do. One. How about this? I was asleep last night before midnight.
That's something you never do.
Ever. I couldn't tell you the last time that I was asleep before midnight. I actually woke up at like 2:15 a.m. and my body was like, what are we doing?
Listen to your body. It's going to tell you when you need sleep, Chad.
Well, I only did that because I had to get up at 5. And I can tell you the last time I woke up at 5, and it was never, ever. We had to be in Hamilton at 7 this morning for volleyball. So
all of those things together sound terrible.
Yeah. So 5:10 wake up call. So I'm going to be honest. This is the least amount of basketball I've watched for the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament, probably in my life. I would guess as a toddler, I watched more of the NCAA tournament than I got to this weekend.
Huh.
I mean, we had football Friday or Thursday. I had radio Friday. We had the NIT game Saturday, and then I had volleyball and family stuff all day today. It's been like on in the background at places, and I've been paying attention on my phone. But I mean, Friday night was really the only thing I've really gotten to like sit down and actually like pay attention to and watch, other than probably one game, one window worth when we got done with the BCJ pod Thursday night. So yeah, it's been a different experience this weekend than normal.
Quite honestly, if you were following along with Big 12, as you kind of alluded to, you weren't missing a whole lot.
I didn't miss much. Let's see. We had Iowa State looks good. I mean, Iowa State looks good.
How far back are you going?
We can go all the way back. We can talk about the first round losses. BYU, they have to shoot well. If they don't shoot well, they're vulnerable. And they didn't shoot well, and they were vulnerable. And if that team scores, and we'll get to a similar conversation about Baylor. It's the age-old, adage in the tournament, Aaron. You have to be good at both things. You have to be good offense and defense. If you
Nell
on one,
Trevin Nell, 1 of 3, 0 for 2 from behind the arc, 2 points. Weird. Probably should have given the ball to Trevin Nell more.
It's not weird because that's who he's been for 2 months. That's who he's been since January 4th or whatever the hell that was.
I don't know if there's anyone more aware outside of Trevin Nell than me about who Trevin Nell has been since Cincinnati.
Oh, you're such a petty man. And Iowa State, they do what they do. They grinded one out over Washington State. Illinois is going to be really interesting for them in the Sweet 16 because Illinois can really score, and they have high-level guards. It's going to be interesting to see if Iowa State can turn them over. If they can turn them over, they can win that game. If not, I don't know that they can score enough to keep up with Illinois, and they could be in danger.
I know that as Big 12 fans, we're not in a position to call anyone overrated, but I believe Illinois to be overrated.
That's not. I know exactly where you're coming from. That. What I will say is, though, they do have a couple guards that just, if they're hitting, you're in trouble. Terrence Shannon is a monster. Now, he might be a monster off the floor as well as on the floor. That's a different story. But,
how many teams? You could say the same thing for any team in the tournament, though, is if they're hitting.
No.
If they're hitting,
you're talking
they're
about,
hitting.
Aaron, you're talking about one of the top 5 to 10 scorers in the country, like all-American level scoring guard. So no, you can't say that about every team in the country because he is one of the best. So the question will be, can Iowa State get them sloppy? If they can win the game and potentially win the game fairly easy. If they don't turn them over, I think Illinois can be a problem for what Iowa State does. That's all. I'm not saying Illinois is going to win. I'm just saying their guard play is going to be interesting because Iowa State's strength is terrorizing your guards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that one's going to be interesting. I would take Iowa State, but it's not. And also, it doesn't matter because the winner of that game is going to play UConn, and UConn is a wagon. They are a monster right now.
There's something.
They're up 53-27. You're 5 minutes into the second half.
I'm trying to follow along as to where you're going on this show, and I have no idea. We were talking about Thursday games. Now we're talking about Iowa State's matchup.
Well, I'm just doing the bracket. I'm looking at the bracket.
All right.
So I was looking at the top left region in the bracket. So I'm just going down the bracket. I have the bracket pulled up.
Okay.
And then that brings us to Baylor. We'll get to Baylor next. A dominating win over Colgate, but they choked today, Aaron. They choked.
Yeah. There's no other way to put it. I watched the end of that one, and everyone, Jacoby
choked.
He had every opportunity to be a hero, and he was not able to be Jordan or Kobe, his name rights.
In foul 7, 8, and 9 in the bonus in a game that they very easily could and maybe should have won down the stretch against a not good Clemson team. Clemson got the brakes beat off them by Boston College in the ACC tournament.
Jacoby Walter fouled PJ Hall out and still was unable to make the free throws necessary to tie the game.
Yeah.
To go from 60, I think it was 66-64 at that point, and you just had to make the free throws. An 82% free throw shooter was unable to do that. So I think he should go from Jacoby Walter to, like, I don't know, not you can't have those names anymore.
You can't get us here and then not have it ready. You got to have the analogy ready, Aaron.
It was all happening too fast.
You choked.
I wasn't even.
You got to the line.
Jacoby Walter.
Free throw. You Jacoby Walter. But I mean, they should be, and that's the thing. Everybody's going to look at this and say the Big 12 choked in this tournament, and I'm honestly, I think Texas A&M can beat Houston and might beat Houston. I've been worried about Houston's depth. Their depth. They might tonight. I've been worried about their depth since Tugler got hurt. And when you combine that with Archino, those are their two main guys off the bench, and they don't have much else behind them. So I've been a little hesitant on them going deep in this tournament because I just don't like where they're at personnel-wise.
It's a one-point game halfway through the first, so
yeah. You had three elite teams or three really, really high-level teams in this league. Houston, Iowa State, Baylor.
But before the injuries, I think you could make an argument for Kansas.
Sure, but the injuries were there. So
right.
Going into this tournament, I did not have Kansas as a threat, and I expected them to be out before the Sweet 16.
Well,
I would not have been shocked at all if they lost the first game.
You didn't expect it until Bill Self finally announced the injury to McCullers was going to be throughout the entirety of the tournament.
After saying the night or the day before the selection, oh, they'll be fine. They're both going to play. Don't dock us any seed lines. We need them. And then Gonzaga smacked them yesterday.
It was really funny to hear the ESPN talking heads apologizing for Bill Self, talking about him looking forward to the offseason for a month now.
Yeah. He knew.
And apologizing. They said, look, well, he didn't mean to say that, and he was just emotional in his post-game press.
No.
Bill Self's been doing this for a long time. You don't need to apologize for Bill Self. He knows what he's doing.
Here's the thing. Bill Self has won championships. Bill Self has made multiple Final Fours. You know what he knows? He knows these guys ain't it. Like, this ain't it. We ain't going on a run, boys and girls.
If you were paying attention, he was saying that 6 weeks ago.
Right. And that was before Dickinson got hurt, and McCullough was fairly healthy at that point in time. So, yeah, I didn't expect, but those three teams, the Big 12 was going to rise and fall with those three teams.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected BYU to be a major player, Texas Tech to be a major player. Nope.
I mean, outside, literally, the only good
even
game
Texas
TCU played, I thought Texas could have pulled that upset yesterday, but they didn't. Disu was bad. Disu wasn't good. So, like we've talked about, if A. Smith and Disu are on, Texas can beat anybody. But they didn't have both of them on.
Well, A. Smith had a shot at the end
to tie, yeah. But anyway, Baylor, I mean, it was right there, and they gave it away. Texas Tech loses to NC State. Not surprising at all. Like, that team, I think it's putting it mildly to say they peaked early. Yeah. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I mean, I am not a Pop Isaacs guy, so I was not upset to see Texas Tech go down.
We know. And then TCU gets drilled by Utah State. The only good game TCU had in 6 weeks was the win over Cincinnati. They've been dog shit outside of that for a while.
Yeah, that one, I don't know. There was, we talked about it all season that, or at least I did, that this team rises and falls on Jameer Nelson. 8 points.
Yep. Tiger also agrees. He wasn't happy.
I guess for Chuck O'Bannon Jr. getting the start, that was interesting.
Yeah. And then Kansas, just not enough. And then Texas, I mean, did you see any of their first round game?
Who'd they have first round?
Colorado State.
I did not.
56-44. Like, that is poke your eyes out basketball.
Yeah, that's not great.
And then, I mean, they had a shot at Tennessee, and they couldn't get over the hump.
Yeah, the game last night was good.
Yeah,
I'm sure Dave was happy out in Reno.
He called me today, and I was in between volleyball and family dinner, I took like a power nap, and I saw my phone ringing with Dave's number. I was like, I'll talk to him later. This nap is way more necessary than talking to drunk Dave from Reno. Pass. We'll talk to him tomorrow. Be all right. Houston now up 6, 8 minutes left in the first half. They're up 24-18. So yeah, I mean, it's not all that surprising because I thought the middle of the Big 12 was pretty good, but nothing exceptional. Like there was really nobody in that group where you thought if such and such gets hot, he can carry them, to the Sweet 16 or to the Elite 8. Like BYU, it would have had to have been as a team. Like they would have just had to, as a team, hit 14 threes in the first game and 12 threes in the second game, and then they could have maybe gotten to a Sweet 16. But that's not easy to do unless you're the white dude from Oakland. You hit 16 in 2 games.
Golke?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. That was fun. I wish they would have beat NC State last night. I was watching.
Yeah.
It was not to be.
That dude from NC State is so fun to watch. The big fella.
Yeah. Yeah. DJ Burns, there it is.
Yeah. I have an analogy I want to make with him, but I'm not going to make it because people would take it wrong. I'll tell you off the air.
BJ Grove?
No. Just a life analogy. I've ran into DJ Burns many, many times in my life, and he was. We'll talk about it later. But I mean, I don't know. Outside of Houston and Iowa State, and to a lesser extent Baylor, it felt like the conference was going to succeed or fail, riding the back of those 3, and so far there's not been a ton of success.
I thought the Big 12 was the best basketball conference, and it wasn't even close. It seems that the Big East, the ACC, Big 10, SEC would like a word.
Well, let's make something clear on the Big East thing. The Big East did what happened to the Big East was self-inflicted because you had 2 teams that were as bad as any low major team in the country. DePaul and Georgetown were atrocious. And one of the things that helped the Big 12 get to where they were is that even Oklahoma State and West Virginia, who were not great, still had really good metrics. So playing them, the Big East was docked for playing those games. Where the Big 12, when you played the 2 bottom teams, it didn't destroy your metrics. The other problem the Big East had is outside of Seton Hall, really none of those teams beat Marquette, Creighton, and UConn. So there was no collusion like there normally is in the Big East, where those middle teams get a couple wins over the top, and that puts them over the hump to get in. There was more of that in the Big 12, where those middle teams got a win here against a Houston or an Iowa State or a Baylor or a Kansas or whatever. So the Big 12 got the right number of teams in. The Big East got the right number of teams in. The Big East 3 are just really good, which is why nobody in that middle pack could beat them and bolster their resume. And now those 3 teams are, but look, Marquette almost lost. Creighton should have lost.
Yeah.
So it's not like those there's one team kicking everybody's ass right now.
UConn.
Danny from Stores. You want to know what he told me?
What did he tell you?
He said
Purdue's also kicking everyone's ass, by the way.
Yeah, they are. I'll give them credit too. They are also kicking everyone's ass. We were texting Danny and I earlier in the week. He said, we're going to push hard for this, Chad. Chance to make history. So they know. Like, they came out, 20-2 or something in their opening game? And I think it was 17-4 today. Like, they are whipping ass. I love it. I love it.
I will never find myself rooting for UConn.
I mean, if you knew, I promise, if you met him once, like out of basketball, and just like ran into him with me at an AAU event and hung out with him for a while, you would root for UConn. I told myself I will never root for UConn, but I love that guy. Like, he's one of my favorite people on the planet. So I want his team to win.
I'm still thinking about that 0.4 seconds and 2 dribbles or 2 steps or whatever it was, and
now
the shot.
Make no mistake, Aaron. If he ever leaves UConn, I will once again never root for them again. But I do root for Danny because he's awesome and I love him and he's been great to me.
If he ever leaves UConn, he's got me as a fan because he's a Bengals fan. So,
oh yeah, die hard.
Not there though.
Right. All right, that's going to wrap it up. We will see you tomorrow night for the BBP. That is the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!